Good morning, everyone, and welcome to another edition of the Falcon Spotlight. I'm your host, Rob Flores, and I'm here with my guest. At this time, I'd like my guest to please introduce himself.
Hi, I'm Taylor Ogata. Whoops, is the mic up?
Yeah.
Yeah, my name's Taylor Ogata. I also have a radio show here at WPMD. It's every Wednesday from 11 to noon, and that's because and this show is devoted to hockey. Well, my show is, of course, and of course, I'm also on the Talon newspaper here at Cerritos College, so I basically know all about everything that goes on here, and especially since Rob was also on staff last semester, and we're just into mass communications.
Cool. Now, tell me, this is like what, your second semester, third, or
Second
what
semester.
Cool. How do you like it so far?
Oh, I love it. Ever since I moved here from up north, things have really changed, and so is my life, and it's a lot better now.
Now, tell me, what is your major?
Mass communications.
Cool, and you've taken quite a bit of journalism. Tell me about it.
It's a lot of fun and it also presents a lot of challenges as well for me, going out and interviewing total strangers, as well as creating a lot of stories and taking a lot of pictures. And I recently got into some multimedia, so that's a lot of fun too, because I used to love creating videos and podcasts, and I got back into it as well.
Nice. So, right now, okay, so the semester's gone by so quickly, and what's been your favorite part right now?
Well, so far, my favorite part was just covering a lot of the sporting events for Talon Marks, and also my radio show here every Wednesday as well. And it's, as always, time flies, like you said.
Oh, yeah. Now, you just recently covered an event. Tell me about it.
Well, it was game one of a 3-game baseball series against East Los Angeles College, and the Falcons baseball team, they were able to pull out a 3-2 win. Although they were down 2-0 early in the game, they scored 3 unanswered runs in like the 5th or 6th inning, and they were able to hang on to win 3-2.
Nice. Now, this semester, how many classes are you taking?
Well, I did have 3 to start, but there were a total of 10 units. But the 4-unit English class I ended up dropping because I was having a hard time in it. So I just rather take a W than an F.
Cool. So, now that you've taken Talon Marks, this is what, your second semester with it, right?
Yeah, second semester.
Do you plan to go back?
Probably not. Probably not, because I want to stay focused on fulfilling all the requirements for my major, not just the major ones, but the general ed as well, because obviously we need that in order to transfer.
Cool. Now, what's your favorite part about the newspaper?
Well, my favorite part about the newspaper is the fact that we all the cool perks that we get, like, for example, recently going to JACC and making a lot of new friends from other colleges in the state, and also I like to just write a lot of stories, and it's basically like what work is like in the actual industry as a professional, except the bad part is that we don't get paid, but it'll give us some experience, and it's just some good training for when you work in the real world.
Cool. Would you say sports is your favorite?
Yeah, sports, basically, since I watch a lot of sports, and considering my show here is also about sports, well, hockey in particularly, but unfortunately there is no hockey here at Cerritos College, so basically although I do know a lot about a bunch of other sports too, and especially baseball, since I I grew up playing it, and I watch a lot of it as well. And with the season right around the corner, college season has already started, but for the bigs, for the pros, their season is right around the corner. I believe they start like tomorrow, or no, they start I think on Monday.
Cool. Now, the other classes that you've taken so far, like let's say math, have you had a chance to take math yet?
Not yet. I'm probably gonna be taking that. I think next semester, or not next, this coming fall, should I say? But I haven't. I'm not taking that yet this semester. I am taking the required speech class for my major, and that's the only other class I have as of right now.
How's that one going?
Oh, it's going great. I just took my second major exam. It wasn't the midterm. That was the first major exam. But I'm doing pretty good in that class because it's basically just a review of because I took a class very similar to it back up north, and I'm just getting by because it's pretty much a review. So I basically know everything.
Yeah, I remember when I took speech, and all of a sudden someone gave a speech about milk, and I was like, okay, what is this person gonna do? And then they started saying how every gallon of milk actually has like pus in it and stuff. I'm like,
oh
and
man!
they're like, oh yeah, they inject the cows and stuff with some other stuff to make them make extra milk. I'm like,
yeah. I don't know what to say about that, but I mean they do the same thing for beef for beef, because in fact the cow is completely slaughtered for beef.
wow. That was really something surprising. Have you heard any surprising speeches lately?
Not really, but we're basically doing just normal informative speeches that's what's coming up. We're doing informative speeches about any topic of our choice, and then near the end we're going to be doing persuasion speeches, which I'm good at. Last spring when I was up north, I did a persuasion speech on jobs for disabled people, and because I feel like a lot of disabled people, including me, have been discriminated against when it comes to hiring. So I just did a speech on that to encourage not just some students in the class I had, but also others around campus, to encourage their boss to hire someone with a disability within a certain time period.
Tell me more about that.
Yeah, I got a good speech. I got a good grade on it because the topic was good. I did just the basic elements of any good speech: an effective body, effective introduction, effective conclusion, and everything was good. I do have a little trouble when it comes to the delivery though, because obviously I tend to lose eye contact, and also I tend to make a lot of pauses like I just did. But other than that, it's just I'm just a good public speaker.
Yeah, I mean everything's all perfect. All practice. Practice makes perfect.
Yep.
Yeah, it's all a learning process. So, how do you like having a show right now?
Oh, I love it. I want to become a broadcaster, for that matter, and since I know a lot about hockey and of course all the music I play, it's basically just a bunch of modern hits from the 90s to the early 2000s, and also this era, this decade. So I basically play a lot of good songs, and I know a lot about hockey, especially the professionals, and hockey season, for that matter, is currently winding down. We've got like a couple more days, or just a few more days left in the season, and then the playoffs start in a couple weeks, and then that's when they battle it out for the championship which will be awarded in early June. So I'm really looking forward to that.
So you play music, and then you also talk about like the results of games, right?
Yes, I always, well, first I do an intro, and then I play one song, and then I have my top 5 games from the previous week. It always starts on Wednesday and then ends on Tuesday, so I do it differently because that obviously my show's on Wednesday, and I always like to do it for the previous week, and then I play another show, and then I have what we call 3 stars of the week, my top 3 performers from the previous week, and then another song, and also I do 5 players to watch, or 5 games to watch after that for the coming week, and then 5 players to watch, and then 5 teams to watch, and then I close it out with some final thoughts I have. And of course, we always have to play promos and PSAs every at the 15 and 45 minute marks, like it says. But you know, it's just what I always do.
Sounds good. Sounds good. Speaking of PSAs and stuff, we'll be back after this break.
People don't much listen to the radio on the radio anymore. They listen on their desktops, they listen on their laptops, they listen on their tablets, and mostly they listen on their cell phones. You can hear WPMD on great streaming sites like TuneIn and Streama and Radio Shaker, and now you can listen to the place where people make a difference on a new WPMD app. It's free and ready for you to download. Just go to appcatch.com. It's appcatch.com. Search for WPMD, then hit launch, and you're with us. It'll work on your iPhone, your Android, your BlackBerry, your iPad. You can take WPMD with you wherever you go, whenever you go. The WPMD app. One more reason why WPMD on the net is the place where people make a difference.
For all its musical contributions, America has made its greatest mark with jazz. The hot jams and the cool licks. Armstrong, Mingus, Brubeck, and Miles. The whole spectrum that presents it each week, with insight and passion on WPMD's longest-running series, The Jazz Lounge. Join Anthony and Lisa every Thursday night at 7 Pacific for 2 hours of jazz, big band, lounge music, and the best of jazz lounge only on WPMD on the net, where people make a difference.
Today in school, I learned a lot. In chemistry, I learned that no one likes me. In English, I learned that I'm disgusting. And in physics, I learned that I'm a loser.
Today in school, I learned that I'm ugly and useless. And in gym, I learned that I'm pathetic and a joke. In history, I learned that I'm trash.
Today in school, I learned that I have no friends.
In biology,
In English, I learned that I make people sick. And at lunch, I learned that I sit on my own because I smell. In chemistry, I learned that no one
In
likes me.
biology, I learned that I'm fat and stupid. And in math, I learned that I'm trash.
The only thing I didn't learn in school today, the only thing I didn't learn today,
the only thing I didn't learn
Is why no one ever helps.
Kids witness bullying every day. They want to help, but they don't know how. Teach them how to stop bullying and be more than a bystander at stopbullying.gov. A message from the Ad Council.
And welcome back to the Falcon Spotlight. I'm your host, Rob Flores, here at Cerritos College, WPMD Studios, Norwalk, California. Now, Taylor, every now and then I also like to get my guests to, talk about themselves and their interests as well. So what do you do on the side?
Well, on the side, I also like to not only just play hockey, but I'm also visiting amusement parks as well. I have a season pass to Knott's Berry Farm, an annual pass to Disneyland, which I live near for that matter, and and I'm also applying for jobs to many different places, and for that matter, I have an interview later today at Knott's Berry Farm. I'm applying to become a dishwasher for their so-called chicken dinner restaurant.
Cool, cool. How about when you have time to watch like TV and stuff? What do you like?
Of course, I watch a lot of sports, mostly hockey, but another thing I'm really into, and of course you know that I have a Facebook page for it as well. I like to watch World Wrestling Entertainment (WWE), and I'm just so obsessed with it and with all the crazy moves that they do and all the crazy events, especially when they put the tables, ladders, and chairs in the ring, and the guys will use them as weapons against each other. It's just insane. But don't worry, it's not real. And like they all say, don't try this at home.
Cool, cool. How long have you been watching wrestling?
For quite a while. I first got exposed to it when I was young. My dad turned on SmackDown, while it was still WWF, World Wrestling Federation, and that was when it was more hardcore, more extreme, and more realistic. So, but obviously I knew better than to pull off that stuff, and I also learned in a mass communication and society class that kids who watch that tend to intimidate it, and a kid once used a clothesline and killed his little brother. So obviously I still know, and I have known since then, that we should never really do that in the real world unless we're trying to defend ourselves, which I'm trying to do. Although I don't really take martial arts, I'm thinking about taking up karate one day or something that can help me defend myself.
Cool, cool. Our campus has taekwondo.
Taekwondo, nice.
It's always a great time to go ahead and put in a plug. But yeah, the wrestling, it's gotten very popular, and there's actually even video games for that as well. Have you had a chance to play any of them?
Yeah, I've played. I have WWE 2K16, and I'm not really that good at it because some of the controls are a little difficult, and it's just it's hard for me to get the hang of. But at the same time, I've also got a bunch of other games. Like I also play NBA, NHL, a little bit of Call of Duty, and it's just, although it can get addicting, as we know, but I limit my playing time, and I don't really play a lot because I don't, obviously, it's bad for your brain, and it's just, it can get addicting.
Oh yes, my brain will probably be mashed potatoes. I love the video games.
Yeah.
Oh man, but yeah, do you think we'll ever see CM Punk back in the ring?
Oh, I don't know. One of these days, he might be back in the ring, but the guy I really want to see back, and of course, I developed the saying, Rob Van Dam. I really want to see him back again because I haven't seen him in years, and there's always a tables, ladders, and chairs match I watch a lot on YouTube where he and Jeff Hardy are fighting for the World Tag Team Championship against Spike and Bubba Ray Dudley, as well as Christian and Chris Jericho, and of course one of the biggest, strongest wrestlers out there today, the Big Red Machine, Kane.
Oh yeah, I really liked that one Raw episode where he fought against Triple H, and it was, if he loses, he has to unmask.
Yeah, Triple H. They're both actually part of the corporate business now, but every once in a while, Kane will always. Well, he has two sides: a corporate side and a demon side. The demon side is where he fights, and that's where he's masked.
Yeah, Kane's been there for quite a bit of years. I'd say eventually he'd be the next Hall of Famer.
Yeah. Hopefully, probably another like Shawn Michaels or maybe even Daniel Bryan.
Did you hear that there's talk that Mark Henry, this is his last WrestleMania, actually?
Yeah. This coming WrestleMania is going to be epic because in addition to that, but also we have Triple H and Roman Reigns going for the World Heavyweight Championship, and Shane McMahon going against The Undertaker to take control of Monday Night Raw. And then we have a 7-way ladder match for the Intercontinental Championship, and it features Kevin Owens and Dean Ambrose and 5 other guys that are trying for the Intercontinental Championship, but they have to climb a ladder and grab it. It's high above the ring.
AJ Styles match is gonna be pretty good.
Yeah, AJ Styles, that's gonna be pretty epic too. And ever since he formed a tag team alliance with Chris Jericho, Y2AJ they called themselves, but then they broke up because of some, I don't know what it is, but there's always some kind of animosity when it comes to tag teams in WWE.
Oh yeah. I think it's pretty interesting too. I mean, once the tag team becomes successful, sometimes they'll merge their 2 entrance themes.
Mm-hmm.
Like RKO, what was it called? Rated RKO? Yeah, Edge and Randy. Jericho, when Jericho and Big Show teamed up, their entrance theme was pretty cool.
Yeah, and also the Shield, which, as you remember, Dean Ambrose, Seth Rollins, and Roman Reigns, they had a pretty cool entrance theme too, but then they broke up. But another funny part, speaking of the Shield, is another tables, ladders, and chairs match I watch on YouTube, and it's between CM Punk and Ryback, and then Ryback's about to pull down the championship, but then the lights go out, and then the Shield just comes out of nowhere, and if that was an actual match, that would be a disqualification. But in tables, ladders, and chairs, there are no disqualifications, nor are there any pinfalls, countouts, or submissions. You're basically no rules, just fight.
Yeah, the hardcore matches are pretty awesome. Do you think that we'll ever see the original titles back?
The original titles?
Yeah, like the Attitude Era championship belts.
I don't know if we will, but we might one day, but I doubt it.
Yeah, that was pretty cool, especially when they had a light heavyweight division, but then they got rid of even the cruiserweight division.
Yeah, I think they lost that because of in favor of UFC, which is more realistic than WWE. And
yeah, the closest thing there is now is probably the X Division title on TNA.
Yeah.
But that's pretty interesting. What do you think about TNA?
TNA, I've never watched it, but it sounds pretty hardcore.
Yeah, RVD, he had a chance to go over there too.
Rob Van Dam had a chance to go into TNA?
Yeah,
wow.
But for a short period of time. But I guess every time he comes back, it's not for that long. It's probably like maybe 3 months or something like that.
Yeah.
That's probably what lets him last long in the business. He gets to come back every now and then.
Mm-hmm.
Same thing for Jericho. And with Jericho, it's because he has his band.
Yeah.
I remember when RBD had a comic book shop. That was pretty cool. I got to see 5-Star Comics one time.
Huh, cool.
And what made that comic place interesting actually was when you go there, yeah, there's merchandise. You got the T-shirts of like each wrestler and stuff. Then you got the action figures. But then there's the memorabilia. You have like a few replica belts. But at the top was a portrait of a different superstar, and it's autographed. And that store had a lot of success because every now and then a wrestler would show up there and have a autograph signing session. So pretty cool.
Yeah, that is cool. And of course, you can also get a lot of WWE merchandise at Hot Topic.
Oh yeah. It's like all over the place. I mean, wow, where isn't WWE at? It's everywhere. That's like the biggest wrestling.
Yeah, well, basically, Hot Topic is more than just that. It's basically a lot of stuff that teens and young adults get into, like also a bunch of pop punk metal bands and of course for girls, like even some kid friendly stuff. They have a lot of Disney merchandise, and it's basically a store for all ages, pretty much.
Yep, and especially even like shows that are no longer around, there's still merchandise over there.
Yep.
There's Dragon Ball Z will always be popular. There's still Dragon Ball Z merchandise there as well.
Yeah, and also even Pokemon and all that jazz. And of course a lot of video gaming stuff. Like I see a lot of Mario and Luigi and anything that was on the old Nintendo Entertainment System, and it was.
Oh yeah, I remember seeing the Ninja Turtle back there too.
Yeah, those are pretty sick.
So, have you had a chance to play much of the old video game systems?
Not much. I didn't grow up playing too much of video game systems. Well, I actually did. I didn't have one in my house because my parents didn't want me to get addicted, and eventually, whenever I went to a friend's house, however, I did play a lot of the N64 and PlayStation, and the first PlayStation. And then my cousin had a PS2, which I played a lot with him, but I didn't really start playing at home until I luckily by chance I won an Xbox 360. Just I don't know how, I just got lucky. It was in a drawing or something.
That's cool.
Yeah, it's probably one in every 1,000 contests I enter, I win.
Cool. How do you sign up for contests like that?
Well, it wasn't really a contest. I was at when I was still living in Sacramento at the time, I was at a Kings basketball game, and it was fan appreciation night, and they usually you make noise, and there are people, the promotion crew, they'll go into the stands and find whoever's making the most noise, like who's getting really loud, and they'll give you something. And someone had an Xbox 360. Apparently, I was just so loud that they just decided to give it to me.
Cool. So, you're a big fan of sporting events, big fan of wrestling. Have you had a chance to go attend different events?
Yeah, I attend. Where I live in Anaheim, I'm not only close to Disneyland, but I'm also close to Angel Stadium and Honda Center, which is where the Ducks hockey team plays. I've seen a lot of Ducks games. I saw an Angels game late last season, and I also saw WWE at Honda Center. They were filming an episode of Raw there, and I saw a lot of that too.
Nice. I got to see Raw only one time. Which episode did you see? What happened in that one?
I kind of don't remember. I believe it was where Kevin Owens reclaimed his Intercontinental title. It was a triple threat match with him, Dean Ambrose, and I forgot who the third guy was, but Dean Ambrose wasn't. He was the current champion, but he wasn't in the ring when Kevin Owens pinned whoever the third guy was and took it back. I'm surprised he even lost his title without even fighting. That's just crazy.
Cool. Yeah. I didn't realize until it's a lot different from when you're watching on TV and when you're there in person, but the pyro is much louder.
I heard a lot of fireworks. Some intros, like Chris Jericho's intro, his had fireworks. The Dudley Boys had fireworks as well, and so did AJ Styles, and also Neville. He had fireworks as well. You always hear a lot. It's always a lot louder when you hear indoor fireworks in person than when you're on TV. Or that's basically true for any place where there's fireworks.
Yeah, the episode that I got to go and see was it was recent after Kane unmasked, and they would bring him in ambulance and chains before he would wrestle. Yeah, and he attacked RVD in that episode. He brought him to where the Titantron is, and kind of did the Snake Eyes move onto the screen. Yeah, but RVD, he put up quite a bit of a fight.
He's a tough guy, of course, and yeah, I remember he weighed 235 pounds or something. Well, that's what he was when I was watching the tag team tables, ladders, and chairs match, where he said from 235 pounds, and of course Jeff Hardy, his tag team partner, was 218. So he's way lighter, but unfortunately they didn't win the World Tag Team Championship. It ended up being Kane, and surprisingly he had to fight alone because his tag team partner, which was supposed to be Hurricane Helms, got assaulted by Triple H and Ric Flair earlier in the show, and he got taken to a hospital. But the announcers also mentioned Booker T after he won a match inside a steel cage, Hell in a Cell they call it. He comes out and is celebrating, and then Chris Jericho comes out of nowhere and attacks him from behind, and he knocks his head right back into the steel cage, and I don't know, it gave him a serious head injury. He got taken to the hospital, but the biggest concern for Kane was Hurricane Helms, obviously, because he had to fight alone, and somehow he managed to survive and win.
There's a lot of technical aspect when you look at it, when you go to a live wrestling show, though, because actually, obviously everyone knows that SmackDown, it's pre-taped, but Raw, it's live, so you can't really, fix things that, there's mistakes, it happens, it aired live because that's a live broadcast, that one compared to SmackDown, and in that particular Raw, actually Goldberg tripped while he was just trying to stand on the rope. Oh, man.
Yeah. And I saw, in fact, that Raw that I was talking about with the 8-man tag team tables, ladders, and chairs. It was actually live. It was in Vegas. Vegas is obviously a hot spot for stuff like that. But it was I saw a lot of crazy things. Yeah, I believe that was the one where where you said Goldberg tripped over the ropes.
Yeah, he was just trying to stand in the corner to try to I guess pose for the fans.
Yeah, they do crazy things.
And and Talon Marks, you also have Ethan, who's a fan of wrestling too.
Yeah, I know. Ethan is Well, recently we were at JCC and we watched SmackDown in our hotel room.
What was that like?
Oh, it was pretty epic. There was one of the tag teams, the New Day, that has Kofi Kingston, Big E, and Xavier Woods. And the funny thing is that Xavier Woods, what he does is he always brings his trombone and plays it outside the ring, and they just do a lot of crazy things. But it wasn't this episode, but in a previous episode, and it was on Raw. It was late in 2015, the Raw after Night of Champions. Because at Night of Champions, the Dudley Boys, because you know how the New Day has this little campaign, they keep saying "Save the tables," but they kind of went against that because they pulled a table out from under the ring and they put it in the ring. But the Dudley Boys obviously pulled a trick on them because they were down, and then Devon, and then they took out Big E and Kofi Kingston, and then they smashed Xavier Woods right through the table